In this video, we're going to be doing an unboxing, an overview, and a first look at the brand new Fractal Design Epoch case. This mid-tower budget-friendly case might just surprise you. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So front of the box just says Epoch and then computer case, nothing much over here. Fractal. Side over here shows serial number, model number, UPC. The model number over here, RGB black, TG light tint. On the back, nothing much. And let's go ahead and open it up. Nothing much up here. The user's guide in here. She's incredibly light. All right, and then it was not Epic, unfortunately. All right, nice side panel. And then this is curved up here, so it looks really nice. And I'll show you that in a second. And that doesn't stay attached, so you need to be careful when you unscrew it. Okay, and you slide it out, and then you can pull it out like that. Right, and I'll remove the rear. The rear is a solid panel, just so that you can see a little bit more. And it's got like a fabric little thing up here, and I'll show you one sec closer up. All right, and you can see here how it clamps on to the case itself, and then down here is a solid panel that it easily slides into. So here along the side on this panel, you can remove it, and then you can slide two 2.5-inch drives, SSDs or mechanical 2.5-inch laptop drives. Then it's like a little door the way it goes in and out. Here we have two rubber grommets to slide your cables through, and then everything nicely tucked over here. Down over here, here is where you can fit a power supply. Here it looks like you can fit some drives, and here as well. These are removable trays. Just undo this thumb screw here and it slides right out. And here is the accessories kit. I'll put it aside just for right now. So these are removable as well, so you can take them out if you don't want them, or maybe if your power supply is too long. So that's nice. Right over here where the power supply goes, there's some rubber feet for vibration to keep it from vibrating. But then if you notice, there is little pieces over here that you can move the drive cage over to fit a different size power supply. But if you do move that over, that means you lose this one, because this only has that one place. So, which is odd the way they did that, but I guess it works. You can just move it over here or over here or completely over here. They have USB 3.0 in the front panel header. Then they have the front panel cables, USB Type-C. Then they have ARGB connection and a PWM fan header connection and an HD audio connection. Front panel audio. Along the front here, they have a mesh design and a little logo up here. In most cases, and this one is not different, you can just pull this front panel out, and the front has 3 fans it comes with. You can also fit a 360 millimeter right up at the front. Then over here, you can see the markings over here. This will fit an ATX, micro ATX, and mini ITX. And everywhere along the board where you could fit it, you'll see like an M for MATX, where you put the standoffs where you can move them to, A, where you can fit ATX motherboards, and I, where you can fit ITX motherboards, where you would screw in the standoffs. Just remember, all motherboards aren't the same though. So pay close attention when you install your motherboard that you put the standoff in the correct spot. And then 3, 6, 7 slots here for graphics cards and sound cards and whatever other kind of card you want to fit in there. And then back here they have a nice big hole so that you can fit in a back plate for a liquid cooling unit or a fan that needs a big old back plate. You got plenty of space there. Let me take you along the top real quick. Along the top over here, along the front, first off we have 2 USB Type A's and the power button, 3.5mm headphone jack, and a USB Type C connection. Then up here, I showed you that little material back here. You can pull on it and this mesh tray comes off and you can fit up to a 240mm radiator up at the top. 240mm, not 360. I'll be putting one up at the front. Then flipping the case over, along the rear where your power supply would go, you do have a filter. And then this is where the hard drive trays or SSD trays would go right over here. So that's nice the way that they adjusted everything in case you need it. Then here they have 4 rubber feet. The feet are almost an inch tall. The case from the feet all the way to the very top is 18.5 inches tall. From the front to the very back, 17 inches you can see there. And up here it is 8 inches wide, so not bad at all. It is a relatively small case. You cannot fit an EATX motherboard in here. And let me show you inside. Along the inside, first off, we have another grill up here for the power supply. You should always have the fan on the bottom, or more than likely have the fan on the bottom, because if not, you're going to be sucking in air from here. So it'll be counterintuitive the way that the airflow goes. Regardless of that, then we have a grommet over here, a grommet over here, and then along the front of the case where we'd be sliding in the liquid cooling unit, we have a big old hole here, and that is the power supply shroud with the Fractal logo right up front here. This is the rear of where the power supply would go. Just remove these 2 screws and it'll be kind of a frame. You'll slide the power supply in and then put this over the power supply and screw it in, and then screw the power supply into this frame. Now from these fans, this cable here, it comes from over here, then it joins with this fan up here, then it joins with this fan right over here. It comes down through here, and that's where it breaks off into the ARGB and the PWM cable for your fans, and for the ARGB lighting for those fans as well. So that's nice the way they join that all together. And this is the front of the case. I have it laying on its back, but I wanted to show you where you're going to put your fingers when you want to remove that front panel. Just put them right here and just take it off like that. Now you have access to the front so that you can either use these fans or move them and put a radiator. And in this baggie, it brings the Epoch or Epic user guide. Shows you how to build inside of it. Then it also brings the attention in the event of receiving a faulty product. Before returning any product, please contact your reseller or Fractal Design. Definitely read this. And in the accessories kit, they bring 4 power supply screws, 4 little rubber washers in this baggie, and these are going to be for the SSDs or the trays to screw that in and to keep it from vibrating. And this little piece over here, I'm not 100% sure what this is, but we'll get into it in a little bit. Then in here it brings an additional standoff. Then in this baggie, 8 screws for the 3.5 inch drives, or of course 2.5 inch drives, 16 mounting screws, just taking out a few so you can see what they look like, and then 8 screws for the 3.5-inch drives, and then 4 of the little teeny tiny zip ties. Now this is the top side of the power supply shroud. Down here is where you put those two 3.5-inch or 2.5-inch drives. Now, if you move the power supply up that you have room for only one tray, you can actually, along the ceiling of that power supply shroud, you can put a tray here so you can have a drive below and a drive above, so you're still able to use both trays. That's nice. Then along the front over here, since we are putting a radiator up here in the build, you can actually remove these panels, which I might end up doing, I'm not sure yet. So you would remove this thumb screw right up here. So that you're able to see a little bit more. You don't have this big piece of metal blocking it. But you're also able to remove the top panel. Just come over here and we'll unscrew this piece real quick. And this piece. And with that, you pull the front panel out and you remove these front 2 screws. Actually 3 screws, sorry. Then you could take this off if you needed to, which exposes the top panel I/O here. So as I already mentioned, you can fit one 120mm fan at the rear and then 2 up here, and then up to 3 120mm fans up at the front like you already see here now. These are 3 Momentum 12 fans. If you wanted to, you could remove these 3 fans and place 2 140mm fans. And if you had some, you can place 2 140mm fans up at the top. So as it is up at the front, you can fit a 120mm radiator, 140mm radiator, 240mm radiator, 280mm radiator, and up to a 360mm radiator. At the top, you can fit a 120 or a 240mm radiator. You cannot fit a 280 or a 360, unfortunately. And then at the very rear, you can fit up to a 120mm radiator. You can fit a graphics card up to 372mm from front to over here with the fans. Of course, if you add your radiator, you're going to have to subtract some of that. It'll also fit a heatsink to the height of 170mm till it hits the glass over here. So a bit awkward. I have the hard drive tray at the very top. You can't move it any more forward and you can't move it any more back. As it is right now, and I have the bottom tray at the bottom. You see how this tray at the very bottom sticks out more this way. At that angle, you can fit a power supply with cables and everything up to 150mm. From the rear of the case to here, you have 167mm. Now, if I move this back over here so that you can fit a bigger power supply, you're still limited right up here. Now you're limited, instead of 167mm, you're limited to 181mm. Now, if your power supply is still longer than that, maybe it's up to right over here, which is 205mm. But if it's still longer than it hits up here, you need to remove that, and you could still only use one tray, which will limit you up to 281mm. So that's not bad. You have a bunch of options, but their placement of the tray up here is a little bit awkward because it really only buys you about 20mm before you have to remove that tray. Love it or hate it, that's the way they have it there. This case from Fractal, coming in at $110. My initial impressions are, I like this case. And mind you, I haven't built into it just yet. That's going to happen this weekend. If the video's out, you'll find it at the very end. Just wait for that. And if not, it'll be there soon enough. My initial impression is I really like this case. I like it a lot. It's got just about everything you need, and it looks nice as it is. There are some downfalls. It's definitely not perfect. Two downfalls is A, you can only fit up to an ATX motherboard. You can fit micro ATX, ATX, mini ATX, but you can't go eATX. That's not a tremendous deal. You have a lot of options here. Another downfall is that you can only fit up to a 240 millimeter radiator at the top. And then over here, you can fit up to a 360 millimeter radiator. Most of us are going to want to put a 360 up at the top. Pick your battles on that one. It's got the hole down here so that you can slide in the radiator all the way to the very bottom. So chances are with a lot of the radiators, the hose are going to be at the level, almost at the level of the CPU. So you might be fine. And newer liquid cooling units will combat that bubbling problem that would be up at the pump. So you might not have to worry about that regardless. But I thought you should know about that. As it is, I will be building with the radiator up at the front. So check to see how that turns out. And the other oddity, it's not a horrible thing because we're using M.2 SSDs, and then you can also put two 2.5-inch SSDs back here. Is if your power supply is too long, you might be limited on how many trays you can use. You can use one for sure, just sliding it to the rear, but it's a little bit awkward the way that this one and the one at the top work out. No matter what, I think it's a very nice case, and we'll find out for sure as soon as I build into it. Because of short time, I was only able to do a quick unboxing of the Fractal Design Epoch case, but here we can see everything that's going to be in my next build. So catch me on Monday where you'll see me build inside of this beautiful case. Iggy with ThisBytesForYou, doing a quick unboxing of the Fractal Design brand new Epoch case or Epoch case. Iggy with ThisBytesForYou out. See you guys.